In this video, we'll talk about the life of a dialogue, from a dialogue's entry into the system and to its appropriate follow-up action, resolution, and its closure. There are multiple ways for dialogues to be entered into the Let's Talk system. For customers, those are parents, community members, students, and staff members. The most common way to enter a dialogue is through the Let's Talk page on a district's website, as you can see here. Another method of adding a dialogue into the system is for users to input new dialogues within the Let's Talk system itself by creating a new dialogue through the Add Dialogue feature. Finally, dialogues can also be collected into Let's Talk through integrated social media tools, which we'll discuss in a different video. In most cases, the most common source of a dialogue is through the district's Let's Talk page, so we'll use this as our first example. Let's say that a parent in the Model Community School District has a question for her child's school related to the school assessments. From the Let's Talk page, the parent looks for the appropriate interest area to direct her question. You'll note that the parent can select an alternative language at the top of the page here. But in this case, we'll stick with English. Once they find the appropriate interest area and clicks on the assessment button, the parent is taken to the appropriate Let's Talk form. On this form, the parent is asked to provide a few pieces of information. First is the subject line. The parent wants to know whether or not assessments will be required for all students. She identifies her submission type as a question and then enters her subject line. If necessary, the parent may choose to add an attachment as well. Next, the parent identifies who she is in relation to the district and whether she would like a response. If the customer does not provide any information for how they can be reached or contacted, this dialogue will remain anonymous. Choosing to remain anonymous hides the option for follow-up questions or follow-up information. In this case, the parent wants feedback and enters their name and an email address or phone number. With all of the information complete, the parent can click Submit and the dialogue life has begun. Upon submission, the parent sees an on-screen thank you message, setting the expectation about follow-up. As the parent who submitted the dialogue, because I provided my email address, I am also receiving an email from the Let's Talk system thanking me for my submission. Now let's take a look at the dialogue within the Let's Talk platform itself. Given that I am a team member of the interest area assessment, I am receiving notification that a new question has been received. By clicking on it, I am taken directly to the new dialogue. Right away, I review the message and see that it is a question asking about assessment requirements. There are a number of actions that I can take next. The first is to assign a specific priority level. In this case, I would like to say that it's a P2, a normal level. Next, I can update the status from unopened to in progress, as I am now working on this question. Next up is the interest area. In this case, assessment, as this is the area selected by the parent on the district website. Since I am a team member of my interest area, this dialogue is assigned to me and a few other team members by default. Since I am a team member of this interest area, this dialogue is assigned to me as well as a few other team members by default. Although I can send this dialogue to a more appropriate interest area by selecting on the interest area dropdown and scroll through the variety of interest areas within the Let's Talk platform. I can also change the owner of this dialogue. or even add a few members to the team. In this case, I'd like to add my colleague, Alfredo Linguini, as he has all the information about this specific topic. When I add him, Alfredo receives an email alert letting him know that he has been added to this dialogue. As a best practice, it is helpful to add an internal comment for this colleague to see when he logs in, so he knows why he's been added. In this case, I'll say, Alfredo, do you have this document that this parent is looking for? And click Post as in progress. This internal comment is only visible to the internal users of the Let's Talk system. It is not seen by the parent or customer. Continuing to scan down the left-hand side of the dialog, you will see the dialog entry point. In this case, the district website, and an opportunity to tag the dialogue. Tagging dialogues will help you to keep track of trending issues or volume around specific topics. Finally, you might take note of an action taken on behalf of this dialogue. In my case, I have chosen to have an in-person meeting with Alfredo to ensure that we're on the same page. Again, this may merit an internal comment to track any progress made. I might note, through an internal comment, discussed with Alfredo in person the required action necessary, and post as an internal comment. Back at the top, I'm returning to the question itself. I note that both the subject and the submission type can be modified as needed. I see an indicator of how many times we have heard from this customer, and because this parent has included her email address, I can see the number 5 next to the name email. This means that the user has submitted 5 dialogues previously with this specific email address. In this case, I may need a little more information from the parent, so I click Reply. I have the ability to choose from a saved response in the bottom right corner, which can also be edited as necessary. In this case, I will go ahead and use this feedback response template. When I am ready, I will go ahead and send. You'll see that I have the option of sending as in progress, send as pending details, or send as closed. Sending as closed means I am following up with the parent or customer and require no further information. Since I'm sending this, asking for a little more information, I may want to leave this as either sending in progress or sending as pending details. Sending as in progress means the clock that counts the time for your average dialogue age does not stop. However, if I send as pending details, this will stop the clock until I hear back from my customer. Given that I need a little more information from the customer, but I do not want my dialogue to age in the process, I will go ahead and send as pending details. As you can see now, the clock at the top has now paused and changed from green to orange. Now my customer, the parent, has received my reply. She reads the message and is able to reply directly to this email. As the parent, I reply, "Thank you for the quick response. I look forward to working together." And click Send. Now, as a team member of this dialogue, I have received a notification that additional information has been received for the dialogue. So I can log back in or simply refresh, and I see that the parent's reply has been captured within the timeline of the dialogue. Since I now have the information needed both from my colleague, Alfredo, and from this parent, I'm able to reply with appropriate answer. Returning to the reply, I will say, "Dear parent, your child's needs are important to us and will be reviewed with the guidance counselor. Please schedule a time to visit the school before the start of the year to meet all of your needs. Thank you." Since I am confident that I have fully addressed this parent's question, I will click Send as closed. Before I hit send, I will receive a message letting me know that the dialogue is closed and I have the option for sending the customer a feedback form. If I do not wish to send a feedback form, I will simply uncheck this box. However, if I want to get feedback from the customer, I will make sure the checkbox is selected and click Save. Now I know that the feedback form will be sent to the parent, and as well as the reply. Now, the parent receives an email with my reply message. Shortly thereafter, the parent will also receive a feedback form to rate the district's responsiveness. All of this information will be captured within the same dialogue, and you'll be able to read throughout the whole history of the dialogue within the internal timeline. For now, you'll see that the dialogue is closed and that there is a lock button now on the reply button, and that the clock has stopped. While that feedback form is going out, I'll show you the additional way that internal system users can add a new dialogue. All users have this ability accessed through the pencil symbol in the top right corner of their page. Clicking on this button, I see a form that looks almost identical to the one a parent filled out from the district website, with a few differences. Let's say that I'm a secretary who uses Let's Talk and a teacher asks me when the holiday party will be held. I don't have the information myself, but I can use Let's Talk to connect the teacher asking the question with the specific person who has the answer. I can enter the teacher's question here and direct it to the appropriate interest area. Note that it's a teacher and include the specific contact information above. At the top of this form, there is the origin of how you received this information, through observation, phone call, in person, a letter, or other. Once all of this information has been entered, and the secretary hits submit, the dialogue is sent to the appropriate interest area when you select a specific interest area or user assigned to it. Once all of this information is entered and the secretary hits submit, the dialogue will be sent to the appropriate interest area for follow-up. As you can see, our parent we originally spoke with has received the feedback form. Once the feedback form arrives in the inbox of the original parent or customer, they are asked to rate our responsiveness. So, without ever having to log into the system, the parent is able to select a number option, and doing so, they are also asked to provide any feedback on anything that could be improved in the future. Here, the parent notes that the district's responsiveness was outstanding. Upon submitting this form, the parent sees one more thank you message. As noted earlier, the rating on the email will be collected and connected with the relevant dialogue, and the data will all be displayed together. In this case, the feedback from the customer has given us a score of 10 and a thank you for the quick response. We've provided excellent customer service and followed up with this question in an amazing 8 minutes. This case is closed. Well, that's all we have for the life of a dialogue. Thanks for learning along with us, and let's talk again soon.